Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're finally getting the UFC 322 picks done. These are my first picks on YouTube since UFC 313, which didn't go great for me. So hopefully these ones go a little better. So let's start off with Vyacheslav Borshev versus Matheus Camilo. It's honestly tough to pick a guy with a 69-inch reach advantage and a 42-inch leg reach advantage. But I am going to go with Vyacheslav Borshev over Matheus Camilo. Matheus Camilo lost to Gabe Green in his debut. I just really don't think he's that good. Borshev has the better striking. Camilo did all right with the grappling against Gabe Green in the first round, and then got put out in the second by submission. Borshev, hasn't won in a while, which is a little worrying because his last fight he lost to Terence McKinney in a minute by submission, lost to Tom Nolan by decision, and then was that when he beat? I believe that's when he beat Jose Medina by decision. Or James Yontop by decision. Pretty comfortably, but I think Mauricio Huffy also went to a 29-28 decision with I don't even fucking know how you say it. James Yontop. But that's because Rufi was trying to swing on him hard and even knocked him down. And James Yontop is he's a blockhead. He's really hard to put away. But Borshev took him to a decision like most people do. And I think before that was when he lost to Chase Hooper, who I think Chase Hooper knocked him down and brutalized him on the ground. I think I'm gonna go with Vyacheslav Borshev to get the knockout. Am I? I think I'm gonna side with Matheus Camilo, actually. I don't know, man. It's hard because they don't have all the stats for Matheus Camilo, but I think if Matheus Camilo can implement he grappled with Gabe Green in the first round. I think knowing that Vyacheslav Borshev is way more dangerous on the feet than Gabe Green, he's going to do the same thing. I think he's going to really push the takedown. And I think he probably gets a sub in the first round. And I think Borshev probably gets cut because that record is not pretty. I was actually going into this picking Borshev, but just thinking about it more, I think Camilo... I don't think Borshev has beat anybody. He went to a draw with Nazim Sadikov like a year ago, 2 years ago, but Nazim Sadikov has clearly leveled up since then and Borshev has not. So I think Matheus Camilo probably gets the submission first round. Next fight, Baysanger Sursakayev versus Eric McConaughey. I have to go with Baysanger Sursakayev. Eric McConaughey got a really weird win over Cody Brundage at 205. That was a really close fight. I don't even remember how I scored it, but I remember it being really controversial. Sursakayev is coming off a win against Eric Nolan, who was a 170er from a promotion who came in on short notice because Sursakayev wanted to fight on UFC 319. And actually was really good against Sursakayev, but then in that second round, Sursakayev just injured Tom Nolan with a leg kick, took him down, subbed him after a really rocky first round. But I really think that was just Sursakayev showing off. I really do. Because when you ask for a fight on 4 days' notice as a debuting prospect, if you ask for a fight on short notice 4 days before the event, do you really think you're going to get that good of an opponent? You're getting a guy coming up 15 pounds from welterweight to middleweight on 4 days' notice. do you really think they're actually going to be that good? No, he was. I definitely think that he was fucking with Eric Nolan, and Eric Nolan said, "Oh, you fuck around, you find out," and he stung Susurkayev. Susurkayev got saved by the bell, and I think this one he's going to take way more seriously. Maybe not though, because he knows Eric McConaughey's not that good. And I think he will knock out Eric McConaughey in the first round. I think he'll either knock him out on the feet or he'll take him down and get a ground and pound finish. Maybe a sub too. I think he'll finish McConaughey. If he goes to a decision, call off the bandwagon, because if you're gonna be a good prospect in this division, you need to finish Eric McConaughey. So yeah, next fight: Angela Hill versus Fatima Klein. Oh, I was originally going with Angela Hill because I thought Angela Hill has so much experience, even though she's an 18-15 record, which is really bad. Thought she'd be able to use the experience to out cardio and have a better pace on Fatima Klein over 3 rounds. But just thinking about it more, I think if Fatima Klein wants, she can take down Angela Hill and do bad things to her on the ground. And I think that Fatima Klein lands harder on the feet, maybe not as much volume, but I think overall she's probably a better striker than Angela Hill. The only way I could see this going Angela Hill's way is if Hill lands way more output on Fatima Klein, stuffs the takedowns, and doesn't get finished. That's the only way and the judges give her the nod with output over damage. It's the only way I can see it happening. I don't think she'll get a knockout. She won't get a submission. It'll only be by decision. But I do think Fatima Klein probably gets the decision. I don't think she'll put out Angela Hill. I think Angela Hill is she probably retires after this, honestly. I think Fatima Klein gets into the rankings as Angela Hill retires, and she'll get a good decision win over Angela Hill. Next fight, Pat Sabatini versus Chepe Mariscal. I am going with Chepe Mariscal to win this fight by knockout. TKO. I think Pat Sabatini's only way of winning is either getting a control-based decision or a submission. I think Chepe Mariscal will be good enough in the defensive grappling to, number one, I think he'll stuff the takedowns of Sabatini if he tries to get them. Mariscal is going to keep it on the feet. He has better striking than Sabatini. And honestly, Mariscal kind of has underrated power in my opinion. He's on a big stage at UFC in Madison Square Garden. I think this is a make or break for both fighters. Winner of this gets a ranked opponent. Mariscal, I think, will wear out Pat Sabatini with his pressure and his boxing, and he'll finish Sabatini probably up against the cage by TKO. Maybe a decision though, because Mariscal has been going to a lot of decisions lately. And also Pat Sabatini fucking got knocked out by Damon Jackson, so I'm not picking him. Next fight, Kyle Daukaus versus Gerald Meerschaert. I really think that Gerald Meerschaert's run in the UFC is over. If you lose to Brad Tavares that bad in 2025, you are cooked. Kyle Daukaus, maybe not with the same takedown defense as Brad Tavares, but it should be enough to keep Gerald Meerschaert on the feet and knock him out. And maybe it was just a scenario with Michel Pereira in his last fight where he knew Michel Pereira was underestimating him, so he took advantage of that, caught Michel Pereira, and then as soon as he got him on the ground, just wailed away on his skull for the finish. But I think that Kyle Daukaus is actually pretty good. And Gerald Meerschaert is just loss after loss after loss. He actually had a pretty solid performance against Reinier de Ridder in his debut, but Reinier de Ridder is a top 10 level middleweight, probably top 5. It's just he needs to slow down on the activity a little bit. But knocked out against Mikhail. He made Mikhail Oleksiejczuk look like McGregor out there. And I think if you're doing that with Mikhail, you're definitely getting knocked out by Kyle Daukaus. So I'm going with Kyle Daukaus to get a knockout in the first round. Next fight, Malcolm Wellmaker versus Ethan Ewig. I can guarantee you these are not the odds. If these are the odds, put the house on Malcolm Wellmaker. Like, I bet you I could look up the odds right now for this fight, and it's going to be absolutely insane. Wellmaker versus Ewig odds. Alright, so where... Yeah, I don't fucking care. Just show me the odds. That's it? Wellmaker's a minus 575 on Odds Shark. That... Hello? Put the house on Malcolm Wellmaker. There's no way that Ethan Ewig coming in is going to do anything to Malcolm Wellmaker. Maybe he surprises him and he's actually a really good fighter. Doubt it. On 3 days' notice, highly doubt it. Malcolm Wellmaker should make easy work of him. The fact that Malcolm Wellmaker was minus 2,100 or 2,500 against Chris Moutinho, and Chris Moutinho probably, in my opinion, had a better chance of winning than Ethan Ewig. Crazy odds. Wellmaker by first round KO. I was going to pick him by second round KO against Cody Haddon, but because I thought that fight was going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, but this one shouldn't be close at all. And it's a shame because Malcolm Wellmaker was finally going to get a step up and a test, but now he's just can crushing like a Tebogochia again. Next fight, Aaron Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez. This is actually a rematch. Tracy Cortez won the first fight by split decision, but one of these women has dominated Rose Namajunas for 5 rounds, and one has gotten dominated by Rose Namajunas for 5 rounds. So I am going with Aaron Blanchfield by decision. Because Aaron Blanchfield has only lost to Manon Fiorot, and Fiorot is probably the second best flyweight in the world right now. So yeah, I'm going with Aaron Blanchfield by decision. Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going with RoboCop to get the knockout in the second round. I think, yeah. Yeah, I think Kopylov has good enough striking. I think he has better striking than Rodriguez. It's just Rodriguez is so much more physical and powerful. And if you are losing that badly to Paulo... And keep in mind, Paulo Costa did come into the Kopylov fight as a whole new version of himself. But Gregory Rodriguez has crazy power. Kopylov, I don't think, has a lot of power. Yeah, I think Rodriguez puts him out in the third round. Yeah, Rodriguez by second round knockout. Maybe there's a chance Kopylov could catch Rodriguez, because Rodriguez doesn't have the greatest chin. Knocked out by Bruno Ferreira, but Ferreira has really solid power. TKO'd by Jared Cannonier, but he knocked down Jared Cannonier twice in the first round and gassed after the third. But this is only a 3-rounder. Rodriguez beat CLD by decision. That was a really dominant fight. And yeah, knocked Jack Hermanson into oblivion. So yeah, I think this should be a relatively easy fight for Gregory Rodriguez. Next fight, we got Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. Bo Nickel should easily win this fight. Even though his striking is not great, he has better striking than Vieira. He has so much to lose, and Vieira has nothing to lose, so I feel like that's going to have Nickel fighting way, way more competent and technically to the point where he's going to... I don't think he'll pick apart Vieira, but I think he'll throw his overhand. But I don't think he's going to use his grappling, because I think he's going to go into this fight with the same mindset as the Paul Craig fight, and it's, I don't want to get submitted. So I think he'll stay away from the grappling, but I think he will outstrike Vieira, who lost to Andre Petroski. There's no way that Nickel is losing to Rodolfo Vieira. But yeah, I did pick against Bo Nickel in his last fight, but Rodolfo Vieira is not Reinier de Ridder. He is Rodolfo Vieira, and he is going to lose to Bo Nickel by decision, though. I don't think Nickel gets the finish, but it'll be by decision. Beneil Dariush versus BSD. Now, I am making this video after BSD has missed weight by about 1.5 pounds. But he didn't look awful on the scale. I'm still going to pick Dariush to win by decision. BSD, I think Dariush honestly has Benoit Saint-Denis beat in every aspect of MMA, other than maybe kicks. Everywhere else, chin, I think, but I really don't think that BSD, at least with his hands, is going to be able to knock out Dariush. I think Dariush is going to stuff the takedowns if BSD shoots any. Easily. Dariush has great takedown defense. He could even get some takedowns of his own on BSD, but I think BSD is more likely to threaten a submission on Dariush than Dariush is on BSD. And I could see him putting out BSD, but I think Dariush will get a safe decision win, and then we're looking at Dariush probably getting a step up. Maybe him versus Gamrot again. Dariush versus like the loser of Saryuki and Hooker. Maybe if it's Hooker that loses, I don't see them running back Dariush versus Saryuki. But yeah, no, Dariush by decision. Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. I have Carlos Prates winning by knockout. In the second round. I think Leon Edwards gets out of the first round. But he's also not facing a grappler, who he has the past 2 times. So I could definitely see a world where Leon Edwards gets a decision win over Prates. But Leon Edwards is not going to mix in the wrestling. I don't think he's going to mix in the wrestling. I think it would be smart to, but I really don't think he's going to. I think he's going to stand and technically strike with Prates. Because whenever he shoots his takedowns, whenever he shoots on Usman, shoots on Belal, it's from Usman shoots a takedown, Belal shoots a takedown, he reverses, he stuffs the takedown, reverses, gets the takedown on them. Prates is not trying to take down Leon Edwards. And Leon Edwards offers pretty much nothing to worry about on the feet. Obviously, he's a good striker, but the power is not there. Prates is just going to, I think he's going to have a really easy fight against Leon Edwards. Maybe Leon Edwards gives him some problems in the first, but I think Prates finds his flow state and knocks him out in the second. If you're getting wobbled by Nate Diaz after 24 minutes, Prates is putting you into the shadow realm. I'm sorry. I've been riding with Leon Edwards, picked him against Belal, picked him against Brady, would have picked him against JDM, would have been wrong all 3 of those times. I'm picking against him. I'm picking Prates to get the knockout win. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. I am picking Michael Morales to win by knockout in the first round. And it all comes down to I'm picking him for a couple reasons. The power. Brady, they each fought Gilbert Burns, one after the other. Morales made easy work of Gilbert Burns in the first 4 minutes of the fight. Sean Brady took him to a decision, where yes, he did dominate Gilbert Burns for 5 rounds. And yes, he subbed Leon Edwards, which is a great win. But Michael Morales, I believe he's got better takedown defense. I don't think it even gets that far. I think unless Brady shoots immediately, I think Morales puts him out before he even shoots a takedown. Because I think Morales is going to be really patient. Brady's going to throw out some combinations. And then Morales is going to be, okay, all right, I see that. He's going to wait for Brady to throw his striking, and then I think he's going to throw a combo that jelly legs Brady, and he'll TKO Brady on the ground. This is such a low confidence pick, though, because Brady is such a good fighter, and I totally see a world where Brady, like most people see, Brady either subs Morales in like the second. I don't think he'll get him out in the first. He could sub Brady or sub Morales in the second, or get a decision win for sure. But in my opinion, I'm going with Morales to win by knockout or TKO in the first round. Co-main event: Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. I am going with Zhang Weili for mainly the purpose of Valentina Shevchenko is slowing down in her career. Zhang Weili is arguably in her prime. She has cleared out her division, and Valentina Shevchenko has not been as dominant as Zhang Weili has. I think Weili's going to have the speed advantage. I'm a little worried, though, because Shevchenko's mainly a grappler, too. But I think Weili has actually a really good submission game. And I could see, I don't know, I think Weili's going to get the sub in the third round. I'm just going to put that out there to start. And that's my pick. But I don't know. Valentina Shevchenko could definitely... There's a reason why this fight's close. Really close. But it's also Zhang Weili winning the title would be so, in my opinion, so much better for the sport than Shevchenko holding onto it. Because this could then... Shevchenko could move up a division, maybe. Finish her career at bantamweight. Try and become a double champ herself. While Zhang Weili takes this division, and then strawweight probably dies because there's nobody down there who's very good. We'll have Mackenzie Dern as a champion for eternity and have her on a top 5 women's GOAT list sometime soon. And also, Zhang Weili, her last fight against Tatiana Suarez, against a longer, taller grappler, and granted, Suarez definitely doesn't have the cardio that Shevchenko does, but Weili has exceptional cardio, and she pushes a pace. She has great striking. She has a good ground game. She has good takedown defense. I think she'll be able to outlast Shevchenko to a decision, but I'm thinking that Weili is going to be able to either get a submission off of a reversal on Shevchenko. If Shevchenko takes her down, she'll get a reversal and get a submission. Or Weili will be able to use the speed advantage to and even mix in the grappling, mix in the takedowns. I think she'll be able to outstrike Valentina Shevchenko to a decision. That's a crazy take, though, because Shevchenko is one of the greatest strikers in women's MMA history. I just think Weili's better. But yeah, anyways, moving on to the main event, JDM versus Islam Makhachev. I'm going with JDM to win this fight by TKO in the 4th round. It just comes down to patterns for me. JDM is obviously 15. It has been fighting at welterweight his whole life. Islam, this is going to be his first fight at 170 pounds. And I think to go up 15 pounds, and I know that obviously Islam's a big lightweight, so going up to welterweight, he's probably going to be just fine. But I think just because he's a big lightweight and he'll fit in at welterweight doesn't mean that he's not going to face a size disadvantage from somebody who's been at welterweight their whole life. Because on the scale this morning too, JDM's frame was much bigger than Islam's. And I think this is the best striker that Islam has ever faced. I think this is obviously the biggest opponent that Islam has ever faced. JDM's training with Craig Jones, so his grappling is going to be on point. And Islam definitely, he's a huge favorite. I'm just explaining my point of view of why I'm picking JDM. I totally see a world where Islam is just going to sub JDM in the first 2 rounds or grapple to a decision, and it just be Du Plessis versus Chimaev 2. But I'm going with JDM because he's also training with Volk, and Volk has spent almost half an hour in the cage with Islam, so that experience is going to come in handy. And Islam, if you look at, other than the Charles Oliveira fight, all of Islam's easy fights have come on short notice, and all of his really tough fights have come on a full camp. His last fight, Moicano, short notice, easy work. Fight before that, Poirier. It was a little bit on short notice, but there was, a full training camp for both guys, and that was a tough fight. Fight before that, Volkanovski 2. Volk came off the couch, easy in the first round. And then before that, Volkanovski won. Volkanovski had a full camp, and he arguably beat Islam. And I know Islam's leveled up since then, but if 2 fights ago, if a year ago, year and a half ago-ish, you're going to almost a decision with Dustin Poirier, who you're not getting damage off your back, you're not getting damage with the grappling, and he's able to reverse you, and he's 1 fight away from retiring. JDM is going to be young, hungry, big, and Islam's never faced somebody this big, and JDM has better cardio than Islam too. I could see even a 5th round TKO from JDM, because Belal pushes a serious pace, and JDM was almost out-cardioing Belal. Islam in all of his fights that have gone into the 5th round, he is gassed at the start of the 5th round. Poirier, they were both gassed. Against Volk, Volk won that last round. That was Volk's best round because Islam was gassed. And yeah, I think JDM is I think cardio is going to be a big thing. I think Islam's not going to get the takedowns as easily. I think he can get the takedowns, but I think JDM's ability to get back up to the feet is so much better than anybody Islam has faced. But that's also an area where Islam excels, is when you're getting back up to your feet. Islam's so good at wrapping up that Darce, and that's going to be something that JDM is probably drilling every single day in camp with Craig Jones, and I think he's going to be ready for it. I think he's going to be ready for Islam. He's been fighting welterweights his whole life. I think Islam, as much as Islam's going to be big, I think JDM's going to have an easier time defending the takedowns than a guy like Belal. Saying this in my head doesn't make sense because it's Islam and Belal Muhammad, but Belal being bigger, having the energy, because Belal having that cardio advantage over Islam, I think their ability to get the takedowns on JDM are relatively the same. Islam's definitely more dangerous, but JDM was able to shuck off the takedowns of Belal until the 5th round, and then he reversed Belal. No, he didn't reverse Belal, but he got back up and separated in about 30 seconds. And I think with Islam's takedowns are a lot more dynamic than Belal's are. But I think that JDM's going to be able to use knees, like the one he landed on Gilbert Burns was a textbook knee up the middle when your opponent goes to shoot a takedown. That put Burns out, and he finished him with ground and pound. And this is a crazy first title defense to have, but I think he's going to beat Islam. And then Islam, I don't know where he goes from there. I think you're really going to have to see how the welterweight fight goes. If it goes to a decision, I can see him staying at welterweight, but if he gets TKO'd by JDM, does he really stay at welterweight? I don't think so. I think he goes back down to 155. And at that point, he's going to be fighting Topuria. I don't think that he beats Topuria. In this scenario, if he gets TKO'd by JDM, then he cuts weight to fight Topuria. I think Topuria puts him out. But yeah, anyways, this was a fun card to break down. I think JDM's gonna get the TKO over Islam, but I can totally see Islam. I could see Islam even getting a TKO because JDM is relatively susceptible to kicks. Islam throws really nice kicks. I could see him hitting him with a head kick. That would be really awful if he knocks out JDM with the same head kick that he knocked out Volk with. But I do think he will lose the fight to JDM by TKO. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll do more of these breakdowns going forward, and I won't take a huge break again. If Islam wins, maybe I will. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.